Welcome back, horror fans. You're listening to Real Talk Horror Edition, the podcast where we dive deep into the chilling and captivating world of horror films. Here we explore what transforms a movie into a terrifying masterpiece or a chilling misstep, examining the nuances that keep us awake at night. I'm your host, Josh Bell, and I'm thrilled to guide you through another spine-tingling discussion. Today, we're shining the spotlight on a film that expertly exemplifies the art of suspense and terror in ways that few others can. Hush. This 2016 thriller, directed by Mike Flanagan, brings a fresh perspective to the home invasion subgenre, centering on a deaf protagonist who must confront a masked intruder in her isolated home. What makes Hush particularly compelling is not just its premise, but how it uses silence as a powerful storytelling tool, transforming the viewer's experience into a visceral, nail-biting journey. In this podcast, we dissect every aspect of the horror genre, from plot and character development to themes, cinematography, sound design, and more. Each element plays a critical role in building the tension and atmosphere that define the films. As we navigate Hush together, expect to encounter moments that will make your heart race and your palms sweat. So grab your popcorn, dim the lights, and prepare for an in-depth exploration of Hush, a tense and intelligent thriller that takes a simple premise and crafts it into an unforgettable experience. Let's dive right in. So in today's film, Hush, a gripping thriller directed by Mike Flanagan and released in 2016, this film is a wonderful class in tension and suspense, presenting a unique twist on the home invasion genre. The story follows Maddie, portrayed brilliantly by Kate Siegel, a deaf writer living in near-complete isolation in her secluded home deep in the woods. Her peaceful retreat takes a terrifying turn when a masked killer appears at her window, forcing her into a fight for her life. What sets Hush apart from typical horror films is its innovative approach to sound, or rather, the lack of it. The film immerses viewers in Maddie's world, where silence reigns, enhancing the viewer's sense of vulnerability and heightening the tension as the intruder toys with Maddie. We experience her fear and isolation in a profoundly intimate way. Flanagan expertly crafts his narrative, utilizing tight pacing and clever visual storytelling to build suspense. The film also balances the home invasion horror with psychological thrills, keeping us on the edge of our seats as we witness Maddie's desperate struggle for survival. Every creak of the floorboard, every glance out the window, and every moment of stillness adds to the mounting dread, making Hush not just a horror film, but an exhilarating roller coaster of emotions. And the plot unfolds with skillful precision, revealing Maddie's backstory through subtle flashbacks and inviting the audience to empathize with her plight. As the tension escalates, we're drawn into her world, rooting for her to outsmart the relentless killer lurking just outside her door. It's a film that not only terrifies, but also captivates, making it a standout in the genre of horror. Now, the plot of Hush is incredibly tight, woven with a straightforward yet captivating narrative that builds suspense with surgical precision. From the outset, the film establishes the stakes effectively, showcasing Maddie's vulnerabilities while also highlighting her remarkable resourcefulness. The viewer, or us, we quickly learn about her life and her challenges that she faces as a deaf writer, which creates an immediate emotional connection. The film's pacing is relentless, maintaining a sense of urgency that feels palpable throughout each tense encounter, ensuring that we remain on the edge of our seats. One of the film's strengths lies in its ability to sustain suspense without resorting to excessive exposition or convoluted plot twists. Instead, it relies on simplicity, allowing the tension to organically build as Maddie navigates her dire situation. However, while the straightforward narrative enhances the tension, some may argue that it lacks the complexity of other horror films that dive deeper into themes or character backstories. Yet the focus on the immediate threat is a conscious choice, and it pays off in creating a nail-biting atmosphere. What truly sets Hush apart from other horror films is the unique protagonist. Maddie's deafness adds a fascinating layer to the story. Unlike typical horror films, where sound cues often guide us through the tension, Hush flips that dynamic entirely. The silence amplifies the dread, making every creak and movement feel magnified and significant. This inversion of expectation not only deepens our immersion, but also elevates the film's horror elements. When sound is suddenly introduced, a door creaking, a whispered threat, it feels electric and disorienting, heightening our fear factor. We are thrust into Maddie's world, experiencing her isolation and vulnerability firsthand, and this perspective shift makes every moment fraught with danger. The performances in Hush are outstanding. Kate Siegel, who plays Maddie, delivers a gripping performance that captures both her fear and resilience. Her ability to convey a spectrum of emotions without relying on spoken dialogue is impressive, showcasing her range as an actress. Siegel's nuanced portrayal makes Maddie relatable and sympathetic. We root for her. We're invested in her survival as she confronts the intruder. The physicality of her performance, combined with her expressive facial features and reactions, evokes an emotional response and keeps us engaged throughout the film. And Maddie's character development is masterfully executed, showcasing her transformation from a woman in a vulnerable position to a fierce and determined fighter. As the tension escalates, we witness her ingenuity and courage, which are key to her survival. The film intelligently contrasts her character with that of the masked killer, who's also played chillingly by John Gallagher Jr. His portrayal embodies the relentless threat that Maddie faces, and the stark dichotomy between the two characters enhances the film's tension. Gallagher brings this sinister charm to his role, making his character not just a mindless brute, but a cunning adversary who revels in the psychological game of cat and mouse. This interplay between Maddie and the potential killer is a focal point of the film, serving to amplify the stakes and the emotional investment of us in the audience. As the night unfolds, their confrontations become increasingly intense, highlighting not only Maddie's resilience, but also the chilling motivations behind her assailant's actions. Together, Siegel and Gallagher create a dynamic that drives the film forward, making Hush a standout in the horror genre. Now, Hush does tackle some profound themes like isolation, vulnerability, and survival, intricately weaving these concepts into the fabric of its narrative. Maddie's deafness serves as both a limitation and a strength, showcasing the diverse ways individuals perceive danger and react to threatening situations. Her silence isolates her in the physical sense, but it also deepens her inner world, allowing her to rely on other senses and instincts. This unique perspective on vulnerability becomes a powerful testament to human resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. The film also explores the predator versus prey dynamic, examining the psychological interplay between the two. The masked killer represents not just a physical threat, but also a psychological one, embodying the primal fears that lurk within us all. As the tension escalates, the film forces viewers to confront their own vulnerabilities and question the nature of fear itself. What does it mean to be a victim? What does it take to become a survivor? These questions linger throughout the film, and they invite us to reflect on the depths of human instinct when survival is at stake. Hush subtly addresses themes of empowerment and autonomy. Maddie's journey transforms her from a seemingly helpless victim into a proactive fighter, subverting traditional horror tropes. Her character arc is a powerful reminder that true strength often emerges in the most desperate situations, challenging the stereotype of the final girl in horror films. The film encourages us to embrace our agency, demonstrating that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we can find the strength to confront our fears. The film is also rich with significant symbols throughout the narrative, each enhancing the themes and the emotional resonance. The killer's mask serves as a chilling representation of the faceless nature of evil, making the threat feel both personal and universal. It strips the killer of any individuality, symbolizing the idea that danger can lurk behind any familiar facade. This anonymity creates a more pervasive sense of dread, as we realize that the threat is not just an external force, but something that could exist anywhere, perhaps even in our own lives. Maddie's writing is another symbol reflecting her internal struggles and desire for connection despite her isolation. Her craft becomes a vehicle for her to express her thoughts and emotions, illustrating the importance of creativity as a means of coping with adversity. The act of writing signifies her longing for communication, not just with the outside world, but also with herself. It represents her need to make sense of her experiences and to assert her identity amidst the chaos of her life. Additionally, the quiet moments in the film, when Maddie writes or reflects, are laden with meaning, contrasting sharply with the violence that erupts later. These moments of introspection serve to humanize Maddie, allowing viewers to connect with her on a deeper level. The symbolism of her writing ultimately underscores the film's message that even in the darkest circumstances, the human spirit can find ways to create, to connect, and to fight back. And the cinematography in Hush is masterful as well, employing clever camera angles and strategic lighting to build tension and create a visceral viewing experience. Director Mike Flanagan and cinematographer Michael Fimagnari, they utilize this minimal set design of Maddie's home to enhance this feeling of claustrophobia, transforming the space into a character in its own right. The interplay of light and dark becomes a powerful storytelling tool, with shadows lurking in every corner and the dimly lit rooms amplifying this sense of dread. This visual approach not only heightens suspense, but it also mirrors Maddie's internal struggle as she navigates her fears in a world that feels increasingly threatening. And the use of negative space in shots allows us in the audience to experience Maddie's isolation firsthand. It emphasizes her vulnerability in the face of an unseen threat. Every frame is crafted to evoke feelings of entrapment, making us feel as though we're trapped alongside Maddie. The strategic placement of the camera creates this tension that draws us into Maddie's world and makes us complicit in her fight for survival. One standout moment occurs when Maddie uses her phone to try to illuminate her surroundings. This brilliant visual not only showcases her ingenuity, but also highlights her fear as she confronts the unknown. The eerie glow casts long shadows and creates this chilling atmosphere that underscores the ongoing tension. It's a powerful moment that encapsulates the film's themes of resourcefulness and survival, while also leaving a lasting impression on us. The scene serves as a reminder that light, while often associated with safety, can also reveal lurking dangers, creating a complex interplay between security and vulnerability. And the film's adept use of silence and sound complements its visual storytelling. The absence of sound in critical moments amplifies tension, making subtle movements and visual cues feel significant. And then we're compelled to focus on the imagery, experiencing the horror through Maddie's perspective, where silence becomes a powerful character in itself. Overall, Hush utilizes its cinematography and visuals to craft an immersive horror experience. The sound design in Hush is pivotal. It helps to create the film's palpable tension. In a unique twist for horror films, the absence of sound is almost deafening at times, forcing us to focus on the slightest disturbances that can amplify fear. Every minor noise, whether it's the rustling of leaves, the creaking of floorboards, or a subtle whisper of wind, sends shivers down our spine. This meticulous attention to sound creates a heightened sense of vulnerability. Without the usual auditory clues that typically guide us through horror films, we find ourselves in Maddie's world, experiencing her fear and uncertainty in an extremely immersive way. The film cleverly employs silence to build a sense of doom, leaving us on high alert for the slightest change in the environment. Each sound becomes amplified, symbolizing the ever-present danger lurking just outside Maddie's perception. This technique not only heightens the emotional impact of the film, but also serves as a reminder of the fragility of safety. The tension builds to a crescendo as silence wraps around the narrative, making every sound that does occur feel monumental and terrifying. And then the score, composed by the Newton brothers, complements the film's sound design beautifully. Their haunting yet subtle compositions amplify the film's tense moments without ever overpowering the action. The score blends seamlessly into the background. It creates this well-balanced auditory experience that keeps us engaged but doesn't distract from the on-screen horror. As the tension mounts, the music swells and it evokes a visceral response that mirrors Maddie's escalating fear. The use of minimalistic melodies enhances the atmosphere, creating an eerie backdrop that lingers in the air. The score is crafted with an understanding of timing and nuance, utilizing these dissonant tones and the sparse instrumentation to evoke a sense of unease. It underscores the key moments of vulnerability and strength, enhancing Maddie's emotional journey throughout the film. This careful orchestration ensures that the music never overshadows the narrative. Instead, it serves to deepen the viewer's emotional connection to Maddie's plight. Now, the pacing of Hush is also done expertly, establishing a relentless flow that keeps us on the edge of our seats from start to finish. The buildup of tension is gradual yet deliberate, ensuring that each moment feels vital to the unfolding story. The methodical pacing allows us to breathe in the quiet moments while simultaneously anticipating the inevitable eruption of chaos. Each scene is carefully structured to enhance the film's suspense, creating a rhythm that mirrors the anxiety and fear experienced by Maddie. The film's ability to weave that tension throughout is particularly commendable. It does an amazing job of balancing these quieter scenes with the moments of sheer terror. This pacing strategy allows for effective character development, as viewers are given time to connect with Maddie before the danger strikes. The ebb and the flow of the narrative engages us, making us complicit, as I mentioned, in Maddie's fight for survival. And the editing is sharp and precise, seamlessly cutting between moments of suspense and action. The dynamic rhythm enhances this overall impact of the film, keeping us invested in Maddie's harrowing journey. The transitions are skillfully executed, ensuring that the pacing remains fluid and engaging. Quick cuts during moments of tension elevate the stakes, while longer takes during quieter scenes allow for emotional depth and character reflection. Additionally, the editing utilizes visual storytelling techniques that highlight the film's themes of isolation and vulnerability. By juxtaposing close-ups of Maddie's expression with wide shots of her surroundings, the film effectively conveys her emotional state while simultaneously emphasizing her physical entrapment. This thoughtful editing not only contributes to the film's suspenseful atmosphere, but it also reinforces the overarching narrative, ensuring that every cut serves a purpose. Overall, Hush utilizes its pacing and editing to create gripping cinematic experience that will resonate with viewers and make this a truly memorable film when it's all said and done. Now, when it comes to scares, Hush is incredibly effective. It delivers a thrilling experience that keeps us on the edge of our seat. The film masterfully balances psychological horror with moments of genuine shock, ensuring that we feel both terrified and emotionally invested in Maddie's struggle. The tension builds steadily throughout the film, with well-timed jump scares and chilling moments that are not just meant to startle, but also to evoke a visceral reaction from us. One of the film's greatest strengths is its ability to create dread without resorting to cheap scares. The psychological torment Maddie endures at the hands of her masked assailant plays on our primal fears, vulnerability, isolation, and the unknown. Each suspenseful moment is crafted with precision, drawing us deeper into Maddie's horrifying reality. The film plays with our expectations, expertly leading us to anticipate terror only to shift direction and escalate the fear in unexpected ways. It's this clever manipulation of our emotions that truly heightens the film's scare factor. While the film does contain some graphic moments, it primarily relies on psychological fear and tension rather than excessive gore. This is a deliberate choice that allows for a more thoughtful exploration of horror, making the film resonate on a deeper level. Instead of leaning heavily on bloodshed, the filmmakers emphasize the mental and emotional stakes at play. The horror comes from Maddie's vulnerability and the relentless nature of her attacker, rather than from visual shock alone. The film's sparing use of gore enhances its impact. When violence does occur, it feels earned and significant. This restraint allows us to focus on the underlying themes of fear and survival, creating a more immersive and gripping experience. The psychological tension builds to a climax that is both shocking and satisfying, leaving us breathless and reflecting on the true nature of fear long after the film has ended. So to summarize, Hush is a tense and intelligent horror thriller that successfully redefines the home invasion genre. Its unique premise, centered on a deaf protagonist fighting for her life, combined with strong performances, particularly from Kate Siegel, and expert craftsmanship, make it a standout film in contemporary horror. The film effectively uses its minimalist setting and the protagonist's disabilities to enhance tension and elicit empathy from us. For all these reasons, I'm giving Hush a solid 9 out of 10. So if you're a fan of smart, suspenseful horror that keeps you guessing, then Hush is an absolute must-watch. It offers a refreshing approach to storytelling that not only entertains, but also challenges us to consider the psychological dimensions of fear. The film is sure to leave you breathless, making it an essential addition to any horror enthusiast watch list. Now, did you love Hush? Did it terrify you as much as it did me? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your opinions and any favorite moments from the film with us. Whether it was a nail-biting scene or an unexpected twist, let us know what stood out to you. And mark your calendars, because next time we're going back in time to review the 1956 classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You won't want to miss that one. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast if you enjoyed today's episode. Your support helps us continue to bring these in-depth discussions about the horror films that we love and some that we don't. You can also connect with us on social media. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at RealRealTalk. We're eager to hear from you. If you prefer a more traditional route, feel free to shoot us an email at therealrealtalk@gmail.com. And until next time, stay creepy. And remember, the horrors might just be lurking closer than you think.